Hello, Gwe, bonjour, Danagok. My name is WhiteDove, and I want to invite you to the series called Silence Must Be Heard. And today I want to talk more about identity. There's a lot more to be read here in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and anyone can Google this on the internet so that you can read the whole thing. But why wouldn't Canada and the United States not want to adopt this declaration when all the other countries on the United Nations have already adopted it? Why wouldn't the United States and Canada want to protect impoverished nations where these are their ancestral homelands? Why wouldn't the United States and Canada want to take effective measures to combat prejudice and eliminate discrimination and to promote tolerance and understanding and good relations among Indigenous peoples with other segments of society? According to the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Indigenous peoples have the right to maintain their nations, to maintain their languages, their life ways, their traditions, their spirituality, their cultures in every way. So why wouldn't the United States and Canada, why wouldn't they want to adopt the United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples? There are a lot of issues that need to be answered in the United States, and I believe a lot of them have to do with identity. As a whole, I believe the United States and Canada have a lot of healing to do from colonization. For example, Mexico recently stated that the United States is their biggest market for illegal drugs. Mexico is I believe one of the biggest producers of illegal drugs in the world, and the United States is their biggest customer. Why is that so? Why are people needing to medicate themselves with illegal drugs? Is it because they're in pain? Is it because they're not sure of who they are? Some of the great prophets of all time have always said two important words: know thyself. That it was important that every person on the planet know who they are, to know themselves, to know where they came from, and to know where they're going. In other words, you can't know where you're going until you know where you came from. And I've heard it recently put a different way. You won't like where you're going if you don't like where you came from. And I believe that the drug wars that are going on, and the fact that the United States, being the biggest customer of Mexico's marketing of illegal drugs, that says a lot about the healing that the United States still needs to do from colonization. There's still a lot of people in pain that are medicating themselves from illegal drugs. And I believe a lot of that has to do with Americans not knowing who they are, and the pain that goes with that, and not knowing where they come from, so they have something they can reach to in the future, so that Americans can know where they're going. People have forgotten who they are. And there's this mass amnesia here in the United States where people have forgotten who they are. And a lot of times they've been made to forget who they are because of colonization. And in order to heal, people need to rediscover who they are. They need to go back. They need to retrace the footsteps of their past. They need to retrace the footsteps of their ancestors in order to heal. And then they won't need to medicate themselves with drugs. That's my theory. That's the importance of identity in our lives, to know who we are and to rediscover, to learn who our identities. Colonization created identity theft on this land that we call Turtle Island. It stripped people away from their true identities. And that's where people started reaching for alcohol and drugs and other spirits, so to speak. People lost their own spirits through loss of identity because of colonization. They lost their spirits because of being dislocated, distance from their ancestral homelands, and so they started reaching for other spirits in the form of alcohol and drugs. And what people really need to do is to start going back and rediscovering their history, their personal histories, their Aboriginal histories, and learning about who they really are, to reclaim their identities, and also to heal their spirit, and to heal whatever soul wound has been passed on from one generation to the next. So this mass amnesia that probably both Americans and Canadians are afflicted with has to do as a result of colonization. There are so many people in the United States and Canada that are Aboriginal and they don't know it. It's been just covered up by guilt and shame, assimilation and colonization. And people have lost their connection to their native tribes, their Aboriginal tribes, their Aboriginal homelands. And this is why people are self-medicating themselves on drugs and alcohol, because they've lost the connection to their identity and their spirituality. And to heal this mass amnesia, people need to start speaking and facing the truth of their own personal histories and the histories of the United States and Canada. They need to face the truth of what really happened here since colonization. And that's how we're all going to heal, by remembering, by coming out of this mass amnesia, and discovering our true identities. And we need to look more closely at our dreams, just like my dream about whale. Those hints in our lives that connect us to our ancestors and to our Aboriginal nations, wherever that might be. We need to listen more carefully to our dreams, to our visions, and we need to ask the ancestors for help. And we need to pray, we need to dance and sing our prayers, and the answers will come to us. And we need to ask for guidance from all our relations if we're going to heal this mass amnesia. For me, whale is a big guide. I pray to whale for guidance, knowing that whale is the totem of my peoples. Again, I want to thank you for joining me for Kijiwiliwani. Merci beaucoup. I wish you lots of love, peace, and success in searching for your identity and discovering who you really are.